Folks, the sad truth of it is most of what we're seeing in the news cycle is just noise, and it's recycled noise at that. Nothing in
with your host, Andrew Donaldson. This is Heard Tell.
It's Heard Tell Show. Welcome back. I'm Andrew Donaldson. So glad you're joining us on this Tuesday, April the 19th, year of our Lord 2022. Just continues to roll along. Man, April's almost gone. Boy, this year's going quick already. Hope you and yours are well wherever you are across the street or around the world. A little bit different program today. We're going to have on two people that we're going to talk to. One is a returning guest who we've had before, Cassandra Shand, going to talk a little bit about Pakistan and India. We talked about yesterday with our friend Georgia Gilholi, the importance of India. You can't talk about India without Pakistan. So today, Cassandra Shand returns, going to talk a little Pakistan, how that fits in the geopolitical realm, things that are going on over there. They just set aside their leader, Imran Khan, who was forced out of power. What does that mean? A lot to go on, kind of a crossroads of a lot of different cross streams in geopolitics. We're going to talk a little Pakistan today. Now, we've always told you that this is an interactive program. You talk, we listen. When we talk, if you don't listen, we don't have a program. No point. We'd be talking to thin air. Longtime subscriber, longtime supporter of this program from the very beginner, good Twitter buddy for a long time. Our friend Holden reached out. He wanted to push back on the way we were covering some of the transgender issues, both sports related and things like the law in Florida, things like this. He wanted to push back on it. I said, why don't you come on the show and talk about it? He agreed to. So he's going to be on the program today. Our buddy Holden talking a little bit about some of the issues with transgender, things in the news, things like the sports issues, things like rights, things like we talked about the bill out in Utah, the governor talking about how to deal with these issues with respect to everybody and where rights start and stop and where harm starts and stops. Our buddy Holden will be on the program in just a little bit. We're also going to finish the program out with a really cool story. This is about the fourth or fifth one of these we've done, but these really big, massive online games can raise a lot of money in a hurry. In this case, it's Fortnite, the very popular video game, has raised over $100 million for Ukraine. We will talk about that in the program. But first, we're going to talk about Alex Jones. Now, why do we want to talk about Alex Jones? He is a despicable human being. He is the worst of the worst when it comes to people in media, but that's why I want to talk about him. He's the absolute antithesis and the opposite of what we want the Heard Tell program to be. In fact, people like Jones, although he's the extreme example, is kind of why we started doing this in the first place. We talk about turning down the noise. We talk about talking to people that actually know what they're talking about. We talk about getting good information and not getting sucked into the silliness and the nonsense. That's not only what Alex Jones does, that's what he monetizes, and that's how he makes his money. And he's a bad person because he peddles in conspiracy theories that he knows aren't true. He said so in court under oath when he really got pressed on it. And he stirs up the worst parts of humanity and the worst parts of people against each other, against our country, and he monetizes it and makes money off it. Now, we're not against people making money, but if you're doing it off ill-gotten gains, we're going to call you out on it. So there's been news about Alex Jones. He has filed for bankruptcy. 3 different companies that he controls, this is from CNN, tied to Alex Jones, including his fringe media organization InfoWars, that's his flagship show, are seeking bankruptcy protection, according to court documents filed on Sunday. The move, which could cause civil litigation against the companies, comes after Jones was found legally responsible for damages in 3 defamation lawsuits related to false claims he made about the 2012 Sandy Hook mass shooting. If you remember, this is where he said they were crisis actors. It didn't really happen, blah, 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 blah. Now, under oath in court, he admitted it happened, but this is what he peddles his audience for riches and glory. Again, despicable human being. The type of bankruptcy filing the company made is one that would allow it to stay in business. The InfoWars store has been particularly lucrative. This is where he sells his merchandise. In a 2019 deposition, Jones's father, who operated much of the business, estimated, quote, something like 80% of revenue was probably from the InfoWars store sales. Citing court documents, the Huffington Post reported in 2022 that over a 3-year period from 2015 to 2018, the InfoWars store did $165 million in sales. Let's pause there real quick and check in with what's going on over at InfoWars today. Business Insider, switching gears. That was CNN. This is Business Insider. Far-right talk show host Alex Jones is holding a bonanza sale of products on his InfoWars store after the site filed for bankruptcy on Monday. We just read about the store. Following the filing, Jones announced on his show that a quote, emergency blowout sale had gone live on his InfoWars store, telling his audience to patronize the store to support him. Quote, this is Jones talking. You want us to be able to stay on the air and be able to move forward in the future. I need you now to not wait and go to the InfoWarsStore.com. Jones said, please don't go to that store. Please don't give this cretin a dime. Especially, back to Jones's direct quotes, those of you who have never bought a book, never bought a film, never bought a t-shirt, never got a supplement, never got an air filtration, never got water filtration, thousands of great items, books, you name it, at InfoWarsStore.com, Jones says. He also pointed the supporters to a button on the site that would allow one to become a, quote, sponsor, which would involve a monthly or one-time donation. Quote, this is do or die time if you want to keep us on the air, Jones said. They are trying to silence you. They are trying to take down the leading voice of the resistance. So what's really going on here? This is really clear cut. He's trying to hide his assets and make as much money as possible to get around these judgments. Let's back up about a week ago, back on April the 8th, Will Summers, in the Daily Beast. Will Summers does a lot of coverage of the fringe right groups. He wrote this, and this will give us the context of what the despicable Alex Jones is really trying to pull off here. In a court motion filed Wednesday in Texas, remember, this is back on April the 8th, so this is over a week ago, the Sandy Hook families claimed that he was concealing InfoWars assets to make the company appear to be nearly bankrupt. The families were joined in a motion by another man suing Jones for falsely accusing him of carrying out the 2018 Parkland shooting, which he also said was fake. The filing was first posted online by Courthouse News. On paper, InfoWars' parent company, Free Speech Systems, seems to lose money every year. Yet Jones has allegedly transferred significant amounts out of the company, fiscal transactions that often coincide with legal setbacks Jones has faced in the Sandy Hook cases. After the family sued him in 2018, for example, Jones allegedly started personally withdrawing a total of $18 million from the Free Speech System bank account over 3 years, along with drawing an annual $600,000 salary. By the way, we know a lot of this stuff because he had a really messy and public divorce case, and a lot of these financials came out. So this isn't just speculation. We've got a pretty good handle on these things. Back to Will Summers and Daily Beast. Remember, this is over a week ago before this current filing. Many of the suspicious transfers centered on a mysterious company called PQPR, which the plaintiffs claimed is controlled by Jones and his family members. Shortly after Jones lost his last appeal to block the defamation case in Texas, PQPR claimed that Free Speech System owed it $54 million, which just happened to coincide with the bulk of InfoWars' assets. Hello. Free Speech Systems began transferring its money to PQPR, then on a series of shell corporations controlled by other Jones family members, according to the motion. While the payments were ostensibly made to pay off the hefty $54 million in areas, a debt PQPR hadn't bothered to enforce in 7 years, during which InfoWars racked up tens of millions in supposed debt. The plaintiffs say this was just a scheme to shelter InfoWars assets in an alphabet soup of shell entities. Their transfers designed to siphon off Jones's asset and make them judgment-proof, lawyers allege. The debt payments accelerated after a Texas judge ruled before trial that Jones had lost his case, an unusual step taken because Jones repeated violations of other legal rules. He's still in contempt of court in some of these actions, by the way. Since that ruling, the plaintiffs say Free Speech System has paid PQPR. What do we tell you over and over again on this program? When you're seeking for truth and you're dealing with money, follow the money. It's going to get you pretty close to the truth. The truth is Alex Jones has made millions, tens of millions of dollars, hawking lies, hawking conspiracy theories, hawking the worst of humanity to the slice of humanity who wants to gobble that stuff up with a straw and suck it down and process it and revel in it. He got rich doing it. And now, because his mouth shot himself off and now he's in legal trouble, he wants to try to hide those assets from legal judgments that had it coming to him because of what he did. This is all a shell game. He's trying to hide his assets, and he's continuing to lie so he can peddle with one hand to his members all this merchandise stuff, which is his main stream of income, And on the other hand, he's trying to claim poverty to the people that he's going to owe money, both through legal means and otherwise. This is the classic bait and switch of every con man in history, whether it's charlatans peddling fake gospel preaching, or a major company, or a Ponzi scheme, or Alex Jones. It's always the same. They're always broke. They always need your help. You're the real victim. They're just your avatar. Look how they're picking on me. Give me more money. At the same time, they're sliding money out the back door to make sure that they're taken care of while you get left holding the bag. I hope this does not work. I hope the court system sorts this out. There seems to be some pretty good reporting. Should be easy enough to get a chain of evidence for either civil or criminal litigation in this area. I hope Jones goes dead broke. He's already morally bankrupt. His bank account should match it. More Hertel right after this.
Hello, I'm Matt Bennett with WWAY News. In New Hanover County, first responders will be getting up to $12,000 in raises. Starting Tuesday, all 670 first responders from the New Hanover County Sheriff's Office, 911 Center, and New Hanover County Fire and Rescue will get raises ranging from $6,500 to $12,000 a year. According to county staff and commissioners, the nearly 30% salary increase for some employees won't cost taxpayers any additional money. And good news for Brunswick County employees, you're not being left behind. Brunswick County Commissioners voted 4-1 to give all county employees a raise, with Pat Sykes voting no. There will be two pay plans, a general plan and a public safety plan. The implementation will cost more than $9 million, but it will not raise taxes. Sheriff John Ingram says he is grateful to the commissioners who supported the raises. He says this will not only help the Sheriff's Office recruit new hires, but help them retain employees. A new street improvement project in downtown Wilmington is expected to snag traffic for the next few months. Signs are now up to guide drivers around the detour and to help pedestrians navigate the construction zone. The first phase includes underground sewer and utility work in the Grace Street intersection, and the next phase will shut down the block between Chestnut and Grace Streets. While the crews work, sidewalks and access to businesses will remain open. The entire project is expected to last about 5 months. And country music singer Darius Rucker has announced his summer tour dates, and Wilmington fans will get to see him perform here. The three-time Grammy winner will now be coming to the Riverfront Amphitheater Friday, August 26th with Larry Fleet and Tyler Booth. Tickets go on sale Friday morning at 10 o'clock. For more on these stories, you can head over to WWAYTV3.com. I'm Matt Bennett. Have a great day.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. I'm WWAY meteorologist Ramel Carpenter with your Storm Track 3 forecast. Much better conditions in store for us here in the Cape Fear, but our temperatures are going to be below the average for both coastal and inland communities. Temperatures will only make it into the low to middle 60s for high temperatures with plenty of sunshine in store for us. And the sunshine is going to be here to stay, but late tonight it's going to be a cold one as our temperatures drop down into the upper 30s away from the coast. Closer to the coastline, we're dropping down into the low 40s under clear skies. Get your full forecast on WWAY and WWAYTV3.com.
This news and weather is brought to you by Two Men and a Truck. For your free quote, go to twomenandatruck.com. twomenandatruck.com.
Hi, this is Justin Humphreys from the Humphreys Law Firm on Eastwood Road. Tune in Thursdays from 6 to 7 p.m. for Objection to the Form, covering civil litigation, real estate issues, and intellectual property. That's Objection to the Form, Thursdays 6 to 7 p.m. right here on the Big Talker 106.7 FM.
Welcome back to Hertel. Oh, she's back. Our friend Cassandra Shant. She's from our Young Voices contributor stable of really sharp folks. She has a degree, Master's Public Policy from the University of Chicago. Just because that wasn't enough, she went over to Cambridge, got another degree. Really sharp person. We've had her on before. Welcome back, Cassandra. Good to see you again.
No, thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
As per usual, when you're on, we're going to talk a little bit about some goings on overseas. We've been talking a lot about Russia and Ukraine, but there's some stuff going on just to the southeast of that we need to pay attention to. A country that has been very important to American foreign policy for the last 25, 30 years, but we don't always talk about it because it's in the background. Pakistan made its way into the headlines this past week. The removal of Imran Khan as the prime minister. Let's start big picture, though. Why is Pakistan such of strategic interest and geopolitical importance to the United States and, more pressingly, India, China, Russia? They're surrounded by a lot of heavy hitters in what's going on in the world right now, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. They definitely